629.
Restaurant coming right along.
Yeah, since they get plumber's supposed to be in there at the end of the week. So,
Did you miss your grand opening?
Yeah, because well, they closed the road with the roundabouts.
Oh, and then do when they're gonna get you open back up there?
Well, they said that.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna call this meeting in order on September 11th, 2022. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Obviously, today being September 11th, we definitely will never forget this date. I'm always reflecting on how government officials came together the day after. Men, women, Republican, Democrats. They came together for the healing and the rebuilding of our country. And I think that's admirable.
I don't remember
For our
exactly where
roll
that
call
happened.
this evening, we do have one excused absence of Dave Price. And we have Heather Parks has filled in our seat. Wayne Vanoy, Rod Martin, Jeff Hamilton, and Mark Moore all are present. Moving forward, have you all had a chance to look at the minutes, or is there any discussion?
Then food was ready.
All right.
I'll make it.
motion.
No, I'll make a motion.
Good.
Either one.
Okay, and all in favor? It looks like we're all in favor. Yes. All right, Mr. Hedrick, it's you.
Well, don't have a whole lot really. I put in a call to Trevor and them. They did replace the one board down here on that fence. That's
Nice.
replaced, but they still have not fixed the dirt down there, to, at least not to my satisfaction. There's too many big rocks and the grass isn't really even growing. So they're supposed to be coming back to do it. But other than that, and then the dump truck bed, the guy still hasn't been able to get it down there and get it done. But he's going to, as soon as he gets his one piece of machinery fixed, he had to order a part for it. It bends in metal. So other than that, I really don't have much.
So I didn't know if I should bring this up during old business or I can just do it now. How's the process going with the stop sign at Halderman with the people before council that came out a couple months ago?
I've put a phone call into him and I have not received anything back from the county, so I do not know.
Do you mind a follow-up call? It has been 2 months.
I
feel
followed
like.
up today and
Okay.
still did not get a phone call back from him.
Okay, it's so terrible people don't make a phone
Well,
call back.
2
I,
days ago, they said this coming.
yeah, they were
Okay.
supposed to be here 2 weeks ago. Now, if they came, they did not contact me or they haven't given me any results of what they did. So,
Just want to be prepared to hear our constituents who may ask,
Right.
what's the deal? You know, are we getting a stop sign? I just want to be prepared for that. Thank you, Ben. Light Street,
Still my spring, we're still in.
yes, that's in January.
Okay.
Good.
alleys,
Alleys are all good. I mean, I will have to say one thing. The gentleman that was with the company that did our alleys, they came back in here about 2 weeks ago and they drove everything to make sure that everything was still as good as it was when they left. And if anything needed touched up, they were going to do it. And I went with, I didn't see anything that was really, I was pretty impressed with any company that would do that. Normally,
because we didn't ask them.
no, well, nobody asked him. He just called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be coming down. I want to look and make sure that everything's satisfactory." I thought that was pretty good.
That's incredible. Thank you. Going on with committees. I cannot write and talk, so give me a second. Because I will end up writing what I was saying. For Parks and Recreation, I know Heather will be an incredible chair of that committee. And December 2nd will be the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. We're going to do it Sunday instead of Monday this year. But let's get through one thing at a time, and then we'll plan another meeting for Parks and Recreation at your convenience. Budget,
I had on here October meeting, we're waiting on, Trevor and Alan to come in to do some quote things for us, before we can do our meeting. Is the 23rd okay with you?
October 23rd, what's the day?
That's a Monday,
Yes, Mondays are good.
at noon, sound good?
how about for Rod?
I've already
talked to
submitted.
Rob
Oh, okay.
before.
She looked up at me and we talked about it before. And I
We
couldn't
already
manage it.
nodded and.
Yeah, ours is shaking.
Jerry, I did
Heather-
I did put a phone call into Trevor
Sorry.
today, but he didn't get back with me, so I'm sure we'll probably hear something tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, we had talked to him,
For yes.
email.
Couple weeks
last
ago.
week.
I was shaking. I was shaking so she could see.
Okay. Sorry I missed all the head nods. and
It's all
everything.
right.
Going forward with zoning.
This month I only had one fence permit that was issued, and that was up there close to where Mr. Hamilton lives. The guy's working on it, that's the only thing in zoning that we had this month.
Okay, thank you for that. Going forward with services, did Dave happen to email anything into you or anything from Jeff on services?
I don't think there's anything on the
Going
board.
forward with everyone's favorite.
Property maintenance, I actually had nothing to report other than the phone call we had with Brad, and I think we're gonna bring it up again.
Yeah,
Old
there's-
business.
A little letter that I've typed up and got everyone in their box. We can go now, or I can do that with old business. What do you all prefer?
Well,
Let's go
Okay.
with property maintenance then. Where's my letter? So, based on 21 years of property maintenance complaints, physical conditions, lack of running water for several months, photographic evidence of unsanitary conditions, as well as previous and current fire hazards that exist, and more violations, the property at 239 warrants a nuisance action and a forward-moving response from the Village of Amanda. We have a duty to protect all residents and properties from such nuisances. The request for the village solicitor to review the property and all the property complaints concerned from several neighbors, and the inspection data was ongoing for the whole month of August. On the date of August 31st, myself, Dwayne, and the solicitor conducted a conference call. Mr. Nicodemus had researched nuisance codes, Ohio revised codes, 21 years of property complaints, as well as the current photos from an interior inspection. As you can see, these violations are not limited to, but include all of these, and the address is unsuitable and unfit for humans. The address is an unsafe structure. Obviously, I'm asking council to consider that forward-moving response because of the unfit human habitation, the cause for sickness, disease, injury, safety, and the welfare of those living therein.
Do you have a copy of the inspection and the pictures?
We probably ought to let the council know also what Brad said about when we do close. when we do
The
say
placard
go
part and
forward.
all that, yeah. So should the determination from council be to go forward with putting up the placard, I asked her to print off, and I don't see it, our procedures on that. We would have to specify the amount of hours, because if we deem it unsafe, and ask them to evacuate premises in a certain amount of hours, it would be with police presence. We can't give them like 3 months, because then if it's deemed unsafe and something happens, we would be liable. Does that make sense? So,
And also, if they go to cross back into that without police presence, it's considered a criminal act.
Carrie, did you print
I
off
do
the?
not have the interior inspections printed yet because I haven't written anything up yet.
Tablet. They can look at the pictures of the tablet if they're hopefully today. I also asked her, Larry, I don't know why I said that. Turn your tube off. Carrie was, I'll stop yelling right now.
This is previous ones. This is this year. We wrote them up for the exterior. Then they done the interior inspection. And after that, that's when you guys said, we need to figure out what's the best way to move forward. We sent it to the solicitor to find out. So I have not printed it since we haven't actually done the
I don't know if this is an appropriate question, we were new here, so.
Right.
Do these people, I assume that they were present during the interior inspection, and so they had the opportunity to talk with the inspector. So this will come as a complete surprise that suddenly you have 48 hours to vacate your property. They're not going to be surprised by this. Hate to displace someone like that.
I have to, I just turned my computer on because I didn't get the
With
interior
sympathy,
inspection.
I understand, I think I know the property in question and.
So let me ask you this. Is the tablet available for them to look at the pictures that were taken during the interior inspection?
This one, it's
Is
Not
the
in here.
tablet available for them to look at the pictures that were taken on the
the
tablet?
interior, oh, no.
And Carrie,
Yeah, just so you know, we use addresses and not names.
I appreciate that.
I think if we're gonna make a decision, I guess we ought to visually be able to see the conditions that we're
Well, I
talking
mean,
about.
more of that
Sorry, I
on
forgot the
someone's
one
life,
tablet.
would be right.
and while they're looking at that, did you print the information for the placard process?
No, I did not today. Basically, the placard says that you have to put a placard, and on the placard, you have to say how much time they have to do. After that, the code reads that once their placard has been put on,
Mhm.
then they have to follow the regulations, which is get all the utilities disconnected, boarded up, and then at that point, they have 2 years to tear down all themselves, or then we go in after 2 years and remove it. But
Water
no,
reads
it
off
could
that.
be,
Address too.
but basically just says it has to be a set of time.
It's important to note that there are existence of previous fires and like light fixtures that have burn marks that aren't repaired, and that's a fire hazard. There are a few,
That's,
The people matter, and no, just
No running water.
outside siding is, yeah, that type of stuff.
Like I say, they don't have any running water because they haven't had for at least 2 months. It's been
Yeah.
out off. Because they make it bill.
they were actually, here,
Yes, that way all three, four of us.
they were
Did
actually,
you get enough, Heather?
She's on that.
they were actually running a card.
That's,
In addition to those pictures, there was an interior pictures taken a year or two ago from the health department. And some of those pictures, like the bathroom picture, looks identical to the ones they took 2 years ago when they were not allowed to live there because of bed bugs and everything else. And I actually have those ones from 2 years ago here. Cause yeah, I didn't wanna just type it up and have things sign
I
it.
can get my
We sent it
7-year-old
to,
grandson in here.
we sent it-
Right.
You're like,
we knew this might have to
I
go
get
to court,
grandkids, they
so
can, they can.
I wanted to make sure I had my ducks in the row and make sure I was typing everything up right. And he suggested instead of just doing it, property maintenance, do a nuisance and property maintenance thing combined type thing, but. Yeah, here was the pictures from a couple years ago. We got to see those.
Keep going.
And that's a copy of the report.
One more.
That's the report.
That was
Yeah,
a violation from a
the
couple years
existing-
ago that had,
The existing report from the inspection.
well, this one was the original, the only thing that they've been written up for was the exterior, saying that prior to the,
But there is a
inspection.
new complaint.
There is
No,
an yes,
because we
I
sent
typed
it-
up and sent it to the interior
No,
inspection.
that's
and
what he's
the
asking.
document.
Yeah, I'm asking for the current report that was done.
So,
For
do
the
you recall I
inspection.
sat in here and I typed it up, the interior
Oh, yes, that's
inspection
right, yeah.
report from the inspector's notes that were handwritten. I
That was
typed
given
it up.
over last month, wasn't
I'm not
it? Yeah,
familiar with that.
I think I was
I
giving
don't
everybody
recall
last
seeing
month.
it.
Remember, I
Everything's in
had
here.
documented the.
You guys mentioned it last month.
He had, the inspector had 3 sheets of handwritten notes that I put into typewritten form for you to
Because we-
send to Brad.
We sent it to Brad,
Okay,
yes.
so can
We
you,
sent it to the solicitor, is what
can
we
you
did.
look at your sent emails and pull that up and print it? Sorry that we're having a communication gap here, everyone.
No, I just think before we make
And
a
it's
decision like this,
documentation we
I don't
need.
care who it is, that we should have a knowledgeable, our knowledge of what went on before we make a decision
And
like
that
this.
documentation needs to be presented to
Yeah.
council to make that decision for sure. I mean, more than pictures.
Yeah,
And it's
the
in the
pictures are,
code that the inspector had to have written documentation, so we did document that.
I mean, the pictures are mind blowing, but
Does anybody, did you want to through some more?
no, I see nothing.
Here, let's go back this way, Heather. I just.
Thank you.
To be clear, I don't wanna see anyone
No.
doing this. I love children and animals more than most people. And I don't want to be nasty, but at a point where it's affecting the welfare of those children and animals and neighbors with dogs at large, or the smell, or that kind of thing, it's beyond
If it's
remedy,
unsafe, it's unsafe. That's it.
period. I'll be quiet.
So-
Very, very cut and dry.
And I'm going to ask this. So Mr. Nicodemus, our solicitor, what is he saying for us to do? His recommendation for council to do.
The conclusions are from the several violations that it is uninhabitable and unfit and unsafe, and to go with a forward-moving response.
So, going on the assumption, so setting, I'm gonna set claiming stuff aside, but the electrical was my big concern, that is,
It's written.
because of that, in my mind, yes, it's uninhabitable. What do we need to do now? What are our next steps going on?
He feels like it could stand in court, should it go that route, for a condemnation.
Has Mr. Nicodemus sent us a letter?
What she's bringing up.
Oh, okay.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was,
So I
I'm
thought you
getting
asked,
myself in
no, wait
line
a
too.
second, now there's another communication gap. I thought you were asking for the interior inspection
Inspection.
report,
And that
which
would
was not
include
by
his,
Mr. Nicodemus.
that
was
would
done-
include his findings. It would be the total report, and that would have to be on his findings.
Mr. Nicodemus did
This is what
not
we sent
add
him to
to
figure out what we
the
should do.
interior inspection
This
report.
is what we sent Brad, which had the report from.
This is the report from the
I'm not
inspection.
sure. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
So
and
what
I'll
you,
pass.
what,
Here, I
sorry.
got-
so what I
There.
thought you were asking for is what Mr. Nicodemus advised.
Yeah, we
And then
haven't,
I thought you were asking for
I was asking for
is
this plus that.
inspection.
Right.
yeah, we haven't actually. wait a
So-
minute.
Mr.
Did it not do
Nicodemus
both pages?
does not have a report. He had
Did
a
it do just
conference
one
call with
page?
us that we
Didn't put
documented.
second
I had
page
us
on
on a
it.
three-way phone call
Here's-
because of
here's one
schedules,
page. I've
everyone's
got
busy.
Here.
And that
Is
he
there
said
is the second page on there though?
that
Nope, Dwayne doesn't have it.
that he would recommend a forward-moving response based on the property nuisance, and that he felt it would stand in court.
Yeah.
If the people that were being served wanted to go to court, that he felt it would be able to stand in court. but I didn't ask him for that in writing, and I will.
And that's what I think that we should have from our solicitors, so we know he's got our back.
And
And is that the way to think about it?
I agree.
His recommendation in writing.
Yeah, yes,
And
What Ohio Revised Code or whatever we need to
right.
dot our i's and cross our
That
t's.
we've, yes, that's what,
do you think it'd be unethical for me to pull him like right now and put him on speaker?
no,
I wouldn't do it.
So I will just ask him to send a report,
An email
an email.
And forward
of
it.
his recommendation, and then we can put it with the report and have it all together,
yes.
so that if all of the paperwork is together, if for some reason we should have to go to court, we have everything. I mean, he will represent, I'm sure, but that way all the ducks are in a row,
And so the
no
email,
missing ducks.
an email is needed for the recommendation to go forward with regard to,
This
I do
said
see the
property.
page, it printed the first
Should we
page
make a
twice.
motion as to what we want to go forward to? Like, I
The
would
second
be
page,
willing to
it
make a
printed the first
motion
page twice.
that we reach out to
I've got
And
that.
I hate the thought, I think you guys all know, I
It's the first
am
page
not a
twice.
fan of taking anything from anybody. But
Thank you, Ken.
it's gonna burn out.
Here's his.
and it's
Yeah.
21 years.
So I would make a motion that we, ask Mr. Nicodemus how we proceed with getting the property down for human inhabitants.
So he has recommended that.
Well, I guess I'd like to know,
You want it in writing?
well, I don't know what we need to do next. I mean, do we just declare it, or do we,
That's what he said, and then we put a placard on it.
I just wanna make sure we're doing it to where it'll stand up in court.
Right.
And if that's what he said, then I'll make a motion to condemn it, but I just wanna be sure that, I don't want it
We could
to,
also
I don't
include,
want it to fall apart if it goes to court.
That's why I didn't wanna do it
could we
Right.
also include in the motion, once we got the recommendation, that we could proceed?
Yeah, I'd be willing to add that, once we get the recommendation from Mr. Nicodemus, we proceed, in the legal and ethical way.
Yeah, what gets me, reading this and seeing the photos, it doesn't have a secondary option. You know, I know, basically know what the structure looks like, but here we are, you know, representing the village, and we're not giving the man, or this property, the opportunity to correct legally. I mean, we can evict them and have them either have the option of fixing everything, which it's not worth, property's not worth. But I don't think that we should ultimately have judgment of this is the only option.
Well, with the 21 years of reports.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think they've had
Yeah.
ample opportunity to understand what, needs to be fixed and what needs to be done. And that is the whole thing where when we was on the phone with with Mr. Nicodemus, that was where he was saying he didn't even realize we had 21 years
Oh, yeah.
of property maintenance issues.
It's been like that since I got home in '97. Yeah. I just want to make sure that we're not putting a loophole in because we don't have all of our ducks in line. You know, the total scope of what we're doing.
Well,
And
I think we have to kind of lean on Brad
yes,
for that, to say, hey,
Brad is Mr. Nicodemus.
okay.
This is the violation that they currently have, and it says, trash receptacle needs to be in rear property until night before trash. Trash, rubbish, debris, yard, weeds, rodents, and bug coverage, cars filled with junk, structure maintenance needed, siding, roofing, underskirting, hole gaps, not watertight, mold out, building neglect, maintenance needed, exterior, interior neglect, smell permeating from structure, mold requested interior inspection, to check for dangerous health and safety conditions, on the premises. Structure unsafe, declare it nuisance possible, additional violations pending the interior inspection. And once we got the pictures, we're like, okay, I don't wanna type something up that's wrong
No, that's
property
what,
maintenance wise, that's why we
Well,
forwarded
I
it to
think that's
him.
what we're
Right.
all sitting here
Yeah.
trying to make sure that we all
Right.
understand that we know we're doing right and we're not going to get all of us in trouble
Right.
because we want to
I
cross
don't think
all the
there's
Ts and dot the Is.
and I think our solicitor ought to be the one that is,
Initiating.
initiating and pursuing. We're just giving him the authority to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to put us in a position to where we're not health inspectors, we're not, building inspectors. We're here to enforce our violation that has occurred and violations that have occurred. And we're authorizing Mr. Nicodemus to go ahead and pursue.
We're also here to protect the health and safety
Yes.
of the other people who live in that area, especially in direct conjunction to that property. It's unhealthy.
With Mr. Nicodemus going forward, can we go ahead and put a time limit on the placard? Should we do that or should he do that?
I don't know if we're knowledgeable enough to, not that none of us here are not brain scientists or
Yeah.
goofballs, but, we're talking legal matters here that
Mhm.
probably ought to be done by a legal expert.
Would the sheriff's department be able to make a recommendation on that, or?
Is there a way to find out what the county does in a case where they do? If we can copy what they're doing, essentially, in a case where they declare a property condemned or unfit for human inhabitants, how much notice do they normally give? I'd rather.
Is there a
than-
precedent?
Exactly, what's the
Right.
precedent?
I'll
Let's
tell
not
you
make
what,
it-
I'll tell you what Mr. Nicodemus said,
Yeah, this is perfect.
24 hours.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And tell him what he
our-
said, but why. He said, because it leaves you open for
Liability.
liability if something happens during that time frame.
But that's the perfect information
Yeah.
I'd love to see written out in an email.
Right.
That this is, even if this is how Fairfield County handles it, or you know what I mean, something, I can't speak that well about it, I don't like the idea of getting to this point, but hell, it's been 21 years, it's not like it's,
It's not gonna be a shock.
but I think we need to do something, because,
So can we, in your motion, can we put in there that we authorize Mr. Nicodemus on an emergency basis to start proceedings?
yeah, I would be happy to add that, that we authorize Mr. Nicodemus to start emergency proceedings towards condemning the property in question based on the current violations and findings of the interior inspection.
With that specifications always.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I can repeat all that. It's like that motion.
I'm gonna make sure I've got it.
Yeah.
Recommended that, Nick move forward, with emergency proceedings based on current findings, and also, did you say something
Current
recommended?
findings and interior inspection, current
inspection.
violations and interior inspection.
And recommended time,
Recommend
placard.
on the placard based on what Fairfield County currently uses, and proceed towards condemning the property.
And then March
Yeah,
2nd.
Wait, hold on one second. I think I heard you say mercy proceedings.
that's what they said,
Emergency.
Emergency proceedings.
Yeah.
I thought you said mercy
No,
proceedings.
emergency.
Okay.
It's probably her shorthand.
Shorthand.
Gary,
I mean, one word there could really.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second. What other discussion do we have about this motion and forward moving response?
I believe we have all spoke our minds and we've all think that we want it done legally and right. And I will vote yes on the motion.
All in favor?
One more
Sorry,
thing.
excuse me.
Who makes the phone call back to Brad Nicodemus? Is it you or I or?
It's usually either me or the mayor.
Well, I just want that to be said.
Did you want to call him?
I mean, I've sent this email
Yeah.
request, and if there's further correspondence, I'll relay it to you and ask you to look into the Fairfield County thing and correspond with Brad.
That he will also, that he will know that, or he will look into that.
And
You're
I'm-
looking in for our knowledge, but he's going to tell us what the knowledge is that he has happened in Fairfield
Yeah,
County.
it's the International Property Maintenance Code just says
Okay.
that set a time set by council, so that's all it says.
I
Everybody looks
prefer
at
it to be emailed as a written form of documentation instead of a text.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to handle it.
And I would like a complete photo and everything copy back in the back, so we have. to
I
research
didn't
something.
have, since I didn't write them up yet for it, that's why
Oh,
I didn't
that's
have everything
understandable.
printed because, of
Very
the pictures. And that's because I didn't wanna do the next step property maintenance violation until he gave me a recommendation of how to do it right, so.
I just want to make sure we're
Well,
covering
the
our selves.
The maroon folder.
Alright, so
Okay,
since
this
there's
is-
no
this-
other discussion at this time, will there be a vote for?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor? Thank you. Moving forward, are there any other property maintenance issues at this time?
I had nothing to report on, so.
Is this all the open list? And I will go.
Yes,
I'll go and
I will let you know if anybody's due for an inspection, I just haven't looked.
I'll make sure
The one
Review.
property that, the 308 Loops.
Yeah.
You know,
didn't that just sell?
it sold by foreclosure in June, but it still has not changed hands in the auditor's website. And I contacted the people that done the selling for them. They said because it was a foreclosure through a bank, that it could take up to 90 days to get it changed to the auditors. So, because as of right now, I don't even know who the new owner is to send
So
them.
the bank
the
is still
violations.
responsible, so if we have to do
Right.
anything, the bank will be billed.
Right.
308 loops.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
they
all
have
right.
So,
put new doors and stuff on it. I've seen people working on it.
so until I know, they told me the guy's name, and I think he lives in Lancaster, because I kind of, but, I haven't, it hasn't done anything legal, so I can't,
Okay.
until it changes hands of the auditor, I can't send him a letter with a violation, so.
Okay.
Right.
Well, they have a copy of the old violation.
Well, Chad would have had it, and Chad probably would not have,
So we
forwarded it
need
on.
to forward
right,
a list of the violations, the time of the violations.
to the new owner
To
once,
the bank,
yeah.
So the bank can
to the
get on
bank
it and
and
pay
tell
for
them
it.
that they have 10
But
days.
unfortunately, I don't have even the bank's name, because
Well,
it's not on the auditor's web.
And tell the
website.
bank they have 10 days to complete this or we'll hire someone to do it. That's
'Cause
that's the way we've done it in the past. And
But typically it changes hands to the
Right.
bank and the auditor, and I don't even
it's,
have it.
that's
still
another
says Chad.
property that's lasted too long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we'll give the bank 10 days to clean it up or we'll hire the kids down here. And
So can you find out if the bank that has,
I've been trying to find out who does it, and normally it gets changed as the auditor with the bank, once the bank owns it, and it still says,
can you make a file instead of the website?
I've
To the bank,
I've been
to the
calling,
auditor?
I've called the auditor, they don't have any records yet, I've called, the realtor, and the realtor didn't get back with me, and finally
So
I talked to the realtor, and
Mark,
it says, well,
Okay, Mark, what do you
yeah.
think about her sending out a certified letter again to, that property address and
post it.
a certified letter
maybe the post office might know
to
a new address.
make
for
sure.
It's another nuisance
I
property.
agree,
And, you know, if we gotta hire someone going to clean it up and assess the taxes, I don't care.
so that sounds good, let's get a certified letter, let's keep working hard on finding out how we can get a hold of these
Yeah,
people.
every day I've been checking the auditor's thing for 3
And I'll
months.
go down and visually inspect sometime this week and, cause that to me is the big swim we have on.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for property maintenance? All right, Mark, what do you got for
I haven't
development?
seen anything develop lately.
The thing that you put in your box today from the auditor, not the auditor, but the
Commissioner
commissioners,
Fix.
That's about-
I sent you.
yeah.
So he does wanna, talk to us again, about our goals and how they can, work with us to meet our needs in a collaborative and thoughtful way. I
Is
just,
Just Mr. Fix,
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like, not, you
can we
know,
just set up, give him 45 minutes before the meeting, because that's what it usually takes him.
I just think
Does
the
it?
world of him.
I mean, you know, instead of
just
him,
think the
you know,
world
being
of
here
him.
for an hour,
Yeah.
we just scheduled to go at 5:45, and if we happen to be a little late, and we can just have a open forum.
But he needs it.
Yeah, he needs it. If that's all right with everybody.
Yes.
I'm I'm supportive of that. He's well
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yes.
Well, he's good to have on your side.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have on development. There's nothing new has come to my attention on development.
So were you serious about meeting with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what date do you want me to?
Well, the October meeting is given 45 minutes before the October
Yeah.
meeting.
I would call him and see if when he's wanting to get together with him.
Okay, I will call him and I will see
Sure.
if he will come at like 5:15
5:40.
or
5:40.
5:40.
Yeah, and just,
The next meeting.
well, we'll have to call a special because we'll all be invited. But if, if something would happen, you get late, we can still proceed,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
I'm with you. All right. Going forward to old business. Anything for anybody?
Last meeting, I asked about that on the hillside of the culvert, about the weeds and what that is. If we get anywhere through this, we don't know where the property is going, where the property lines are and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any. We'd have to see if they even have any surveying pins or anything.
It looks like the people down below, according to the audio.
Okay, so that's all.
Sorry, I told you I can't write and talk and think. I was making a note. Anything else for new business? All right, certified amounts.
Move to approve.
Good to see.
Second.
All in favor?
what is certified amount?
That is the property tax that we get each year, the 40,000, is all we get for property tax.
So is this approving a new tax?
No, it's approving the amount that we're getting,
This is us accepting what the county
accepting what
says.
the county says.
Gotcha.
So there's no debate in it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I thought it was redoing the one.
That's, it definitely. That's correct.
But
So I missed the motion and second. Did you get it?
Yeah,
Yes.
you made a motion. I seconded.
And vote for?
Yes.
All in favor, sorry.
This will be going around, it's gotta be signed and certificate on the page that I've done, got ready for y'all. So, if you wanna.
You did say these lines.
Is this put in there for a reason? The mobile home?
3 times.
Yeah, free.
I assumed that was about the property. that we
That's
voted
right.
on.
Yeah, that's.
So that,
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
I could be very wrong. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah. That's what it is.
two more times. And where is my
Just pass it along.
bills?
Those modulars at school.
When they put the new siding, they made it look decent, didn't they?
They only
They
took
redid the
9
whole
gallons.
inside too.
You like ours.
All new floor, all
They
the
only
redid
took
the
9
wall,
gallon paint.
Huh?
9 gallons paint.
9 gallon paint.
Yeah, the better painter would take.
Well, I know, he probably had more paint on him than he did on the walls, but that's.
I don't think so.
Well, he's assistant.
It's probably not-
His assistant by it?
The other two,
What did Mirror-Scapes come out for?
spray mosquitoes.
I was out school today, I had to get water tank.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second,
Second.
Four.
Ford, yes.
all in favor?
Who's Casey Morgan? Casey Morgan.
That is the lady that rented the, shelter house. I, wrote her a check earlier in the month, but I spelled her name wrong, so I had to take out I had to reissue her a check for her
There's all 3
reimbursement.
copies.
It's actually.
Thank you.
Oh. Well, my name better not be misspelled when you reimburse my $20. Just kidding. Kind of.
Hey guys,
Sure.
hey guys, don't forget about the festival this weekend.
Yes.
Good food, good entertainment, good.
Oh, that
Oh,
does
you're not
bring up
gonna
a
be
question.
I'm not gonna be.
Oh.
I have a restaurant down there.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, we do.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Nice job, Jen.
Second.
All right.
Hey, Scotty.
All in favor?
her?
She's good.
Suzanne used to always make the motion during there. That was
Ready to go home.
Yeah.
See what you did there?
When do you guys need the signs and stuff out for them to, that was one question
Oh, we
I
forgot
need to
to
have the guys.
ask.